Today we're in the mountains and we're going to inspect this house here. It's a townhouse and it's an end unit and it's covered with snow. So let's take a look. And I bring my infrared camera and look at all the parts of the house because infrared simply helps me do my job better. So taking a look at that. Nothing to see really. There's some ice hanging. Must be a melting strip there. There's the chimney. Must be a fireplace inside. The exterior looks good. I really can't walk around. The snow is about 3 to 6 feet deep in areas. And so the driveway is exposed. And I can take a look at the driveway. It looks in pretty good shape. The front entry door, the sidewalk, and the driveway are split. So they're separated. And that just allows a lot of water to go underneath the two. And they may be causing the concrete to move up and down. And there's a lot of cracking going on at the bottom of the stone wall and the sidewalk. So they keep patching it up, but it's not a battle to be won. It could just be cut at the bottom there. So it's not a major structural problem, which a lot of folks might think initially. And big deck on the front of the house on these big massive post foundations and a little bit of cracking at the mortar, cracking in the natural wood post itself. And the beams look great. The floor joists are doubled underneath the outdoor hot tub, doubled 2x10s, and the ledger board looks great. I see a lot of bolting and fastening, metal joist hangers, conduit for the hot tub above. Looking for any kind of stress points, cracks, fractures, loose components, wood rot. I don't see anything like that, so it's looking good. Looking at the connections where the deck attaches to the house. And there's the hot tub there. It's on. Inspection restrictions are all over in the mountains. Inspecting these things, you really can't see everything. The exterior receptacles should be GFCI protected. GFCI protection for the hot tub itself. That's beyond the scope of my home inspection, the hot tub. The exterior looks pretty good. I don't see anything wrong with the exterior. Some weathering of the paint and the stain, and that's okay. And so I'll take a look on the outside, on the side and the back as much as I can. GFCI protection for exterior receptacles. And into the home, the entry, I'll use my infrared. And I see some heat in the laundry room. That's the far area there, so I'll take a look at that. And it looks like it's zoned heat in the floor. Lots of thermostats. Laundry, we need some GFCI protection at the receptacles. The rubber hoses should be replaced. So GFCI receptacle is needed, and the dryer actually does not exhaust outside. So there's a lot of lint buildup and it's just discharging right there into a sock. So that's not very good. There's a drain, which is really nice, and a sump pump. No pump in the sump pump. It's a good recommendation. And there's a little bit of water at the bottom of the sump pump. And there's a crawl space actually, but it is secured and closed. So that's an inspection restriction. In the garage, there's 10 steps to inspect a garage door opener that's attached to a garage. And this is one of them. Just looking at the operation using the normal operating controls, the wall button. And I'll do a non-contact reverse with my foot. I'll trip the laser eyes in the beam, so that works. And I'm going to take a look at the interior of the garage and how the floor slopes out and away towards the garage door, so that all that snow for the mountain lodge here is melting and just coming out the door. And we need GFCI protection for the garage receptacles. That closet there there's goodies in that closet. So the boiler is in there, making the heat for the domestic hot water. And there's a storage tank for the hot water as well. And I've got a major defect. So that is a major defect. Looks like the temperature pressure relief valve has been discharging onto the floor and dripping for quite some time. Now there's structural damage to the floor. We don't want that big 80-gallon tank to fall over. So someone needs to take a look at that. It's funny how homeowners really do not know. They're not aware of major defects. Often the case. A lot of valves, a lot of fittings, a lot of copper pipe, a lot of zones. So there's the boiler there. Gas, there's the flue vent pipe, and it has fresh air intake. So the pipe to the left of the flue is fresh air intake for the boiler system. And I'm not responsible for inspecting all of the components, so there's a lot of disclaimers going on about all of the components of the boiler system. We're going to ask the client to ask the seller or the homeowner to explain. And there's PEX. So the zones of the boiler are through PEX tubes. And so cross-linked polyethylene. And there's the PEX copper crimped clamps. I'll take a look at that. There's one that I'm kind of concerned with. One of the things that I do is obviously look for water leaks at the valves, in the shut-off valves. Look for any kind of electrical problems. And I'll take a picture of, there's the PEX A, that's one of the 3 types of PEX. And there's the standard 877. And then there's that one clamp there. It's kind of high. I'm a little concerned about that, but everything else seems to be in pretty good shape from what I see. There's the sewer line, ABS, and there's a little discharge. So if you need to drain the water lines, so water distribution supply lines, there's a water trap valve there, but which can also just dry out. So I'm a little concerned about that because it's not used all the time, and there's a little bit of sewer odor coming out of that pipe. And water supply coming in through a check valve, pressure valve, there's the jumper, water meter, and that obviously is my water meter, and that's wet. Electrical panel, 200 amps. Shut off is on the outside of the house, near the gas meters. Breakers are labeled, that's really good, everything's on. There's the heat tape, remember the ice was melting. We have AFCIs, which is great, but not all of the not all of the circuits that should be protected by an AFCI are actually protected. So that's a soft recommendation there. And now the interior, which is pretty quick. I use my infrared, so I would just want to take a look at, see if I see any major defects in these cold areas. I'll just point it out and we'll have a discussion with my client about insulation, particularly in the corners. It's a little difficult to insulate in the corners. And the floor is warm. I can feel it with my feet. So there's some kind of radiant heat in the flooring. Another shot of the infrared. So if you want to interpret these infrared images, you need training. So InterNACHI has an online training and certification, infrared certified. And you can do that. There's thermostats and zones all over the place. Doors, windows, receptacles, thermostats, interior, and then the bathrooms. Basically hot and cold at the sink, flush the toilet, and then run the tub and shower and see what the flow is like. And so that's functional, that's good. And then maybe wiggle the toilet with the left of my leg and take a look at the drain pipes and see if there's any water leaks, and GFCI and the vent for the bathroom and the door itself and the light fixtures and the surfaces. That is a really awesome shot of the master. There's the floor of the tile. There's tile there. That's a really great shot. I really like that infrared shot. You can tell the actual loops of the radiant floor heating and the tubes going through the floor. And that's a shot there of just the infrared, and you can tell it's right next to the toilet. And there's a concern. There's a really hot mark in the floor, and it's kind of an anomaly. It's something unexpected, so it's kind of hot there. So I want to make sure my client understands a concern. And the tubes are just amazing with infrared. So I can see things that most home inspectors can't. And I'll turn on the fireplace. It's not a wood burning. So a little switch, normal operating controls. The interiors of the bedrooms and the bathrooms. Just looking for water leaks, really. And the kitchen is pretty easy. I run a short cycle of the dishwasher, run hot and cold water at the sink, garbage disposal, GFCIs, stove top, range, microwave, vent, the countertops and surfaces and cabinets all look good, and GFCI protection. And that's it for inspecting a home way up in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado.